This is my audience. Hak Young, my mother, and Eliana. Hello, I'm Ethan. Today I'm doing a speech on a biblical hero. I chose Samson as my biblical hero. Samson was born in Nazareth, set apart for God's work. He was not allowed to drink alcohol, have his hair cut, or touch dead bodies. God had gifted Samson with a superhuman strength ability. He killed a lion with his bare hands and slaughtered 1,000 Philistine men with the jawbone of a donkey. Samson was born to a wife of a man named Manoah. They had been childless. The angel of the Lord came to them saying they would have a child and that he must not drink alcohol, only eat clean meat, no pork or unclean meat like that, as for the Jewish law. And he was also a Nazarite, which made him have more laws. So he was like advanced Jew, however you would say that, I would say. So no drinking alcohol, could not eat unclean meat, and could not have a razor touch his head or cut his hair at all. Because Samson was so strong, he had a lot of enemies. One of his enemies was the Philistines. The Philistines was one of the bigger nations during that time. The Philistines wanted to know Samson's strength and the source of it, so they got a woman to try and deceive Samson into telling them the source of his strength. She tried many times, but also failed, but she kept on trying and failed again. Samson finally caught on that she was trying to deceive him and tell the Philistines his strength, so he left her. A little while later, he met another woman named Delilah, and Delilah was a very beautiful Philistine woman, even though the Nazarites were not supposed to affiliate with the Philistines. The Philistines still wanted to know the source of Samson's strength, so they got Delilah to try and deceive Samson again. And after some while, Samson finally broke down and told Delilah the source of his strength was his hair, and if a razor would ever cut his hair, he would lose his strength. So Delilah went and told the Philistine officials, and they convinced Delilah to cut Samson's hair while he was asleep. And when Samson woke up, he woke up and found out that he had lost his strength, and he knew that Delilah had deceived him. The Philistine men came and imprisoned Samson, while they also tortured him, gouged out his eyes, and humiliated him. With the gouging out his eyes, it basically make it be harder for him to fight anyone, even though he'd be really weak. And with the humiliation and him losing his strength, he had basically lost his pride, and they just completely demolished what he had been. The Philistines had a feast, and they brought Samson out to show off, like they'd say they had conquered the great Samson. Samson asked to be set by the pillars of the temple where the feast was being held. Samson prayed to God, asking for one last spurt of strength to kill all the Philistines under the temple. God granted Samson with the strength, and Samson pushed over the pillars of the temple, killing everyone in the temple as well as himself. Samson killed more men that day than he killed in all of his life. I believe Samson was a great biblical hero because he served God even though he had sinned, which all men sin, and that he still showed God's power through whatever he did.